I want to start with Batetsi. Let's talk about the importance of seeking professions like yours to make sure that we're mindfully balanced.
Thank you, Sepi, for that question. So if you look around the room today, 1 in 3 people will suffer from a mental health illness. 1 in 3 is currently struggling with a mental health illness, or they will suffer from a mental health illness. So oftentimes people come to my practice when they are in crisis. The absence of a mental health disorder is not mental wellness. So there's a difference. And it's so important that we have this conversation around mental wellness as opposed to mental illness, actually. Because, like I said, it's on a spectrum. And where you need to be coming to me, ideally, is not when you're in crisis. Because when you're in crisis, I deal with the crisis. We start with the crisis. And then once you're out of the crisis, we can then do other work internally, psychologically. So when you present to me in crisis, it's very hard for me to get into the second layer of issues. Because what we say is when you're in crisis, the symptoms you present with are merely that, they're symptoms. There's underlying causes or issues that we actually have to get to promote sustainable well-being. So I think I've answered that question.
Let's bring it to you, Charles. When we talk emotional intelligence, just maybe slightly define that for us.
Thank you very much. Okay, let me begin by saying this. Emotional intelligence, to make it simple, is being smarter with your thoughts and emotions. It's impossible for a human mind to function without it being conditioned. The essence of existence is for us to take control. So every individual here, it is your responsibility, not just as a woman, but as a human being, be it a man, be it a woman. You are the creator of whatever goes on your mental plane. So we are to understand that everyone seated here today exists on 3 different planes of realities at the same time in one body. Let me explain. Your mental plane is a different reality. Your emotional plane is a different reality, and your physical plane is a different reality. And most at times, we've been conditioned wrongly to focus only on the physical aspect of life. And then we forget that we also have another reality, which is the emotional and the mental. This is the genesis of every problem, because nothing is physical, nothing can be physical without it beginning from the mental plane. So once you understand the mental plane, then the physical will make a lot of sense to you. So if you are not aware that every human being possesses negative and positive thoughts, then we have a problem. Because it's your responsibility to understand the amount of thoughts that flows on your mental plane, the negative and the positive. And that's why we all have an emotion to express that into the physical character, into the content of our character. So the character projects the high level of our thoughts. So you are to look into the content of your character, know the kind of thoughts you have in your mind. Are they intelligent thoughts? Because every thought you think of within your mental plane has a chemical that is connected to your feelings. And the feelings, before a feeling can come into the physical reality, it passes through emotion. Emotion is energy in action. So we are to also understand, as you're taking care of your physical body, take care of your mental and emotion. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's talk the importance of nutrition in everyday life and how it really does help us to make sense of the world, really.
Okay. Nutrition and our brain work hand in hand. And what most people don't know is that our brain accounts for 2% of our body weight, only 2%. But it uses 30% of our energy that we eat. So it uses majority of our food. And so we ask ourselves, what type of food? And this one might surprise people in the room, but it's carbs. It's carbs. And most times we say, no, but we need to cut carbs. Carbs is our brain's preferred source of energy. And it all depends on what type of carbs we're eating. So it depends on the type of carbs and how much carbs we're eating. So yes, we get the pap, we get the rice, we get the pastas, but then we get carbs that actually fuels our brain. So I don't know if anybody over here where you're having an off day and you just think to yourself, I'm going to eat whatever, I'm going to eat junk, and your mood ends up feeling worse. You don't feel great after being sluggish, after eating all the processed foods, the junk foods, the takeouts. You end up feeling worse. So what we recommend is that you want to look at the type of carbs that you're eating. So we're looking at carbs that contain fiber, carbs that keep us fuller for longer. So it would be your whole wheat pastas, your whole wheat breads. It could be anything from beans, lentils, your starchy veg, butternut, pumpkins. They are carbs as well, and they are the good type of carbs. They break down slower. That means it helps to keep our body sustained in terms of energy, which means we're not having that brain fog throughout the day.
What are some of the foods we should probably be staying away from? No judgment for those who have them all the time.
There are fats out there that are good fats. So if I could include anything aside from the carbs, I would look at the type of fats that we're having as women, omega-3, 6, and 9. One last thing, protein as well.
Yes.
As we get older, we get told when you go through menopause or as you're aging, you need more protein. Why do we need more protein? Well, proteins contain amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks in our body. So proteins for women particularly, there's one protein called histidine, and histidine is responsible for our mood, our balance. We've got a gynecologist who can account for this. It's also responsible for our sexual orgasms. So if you're not having enough protein, it can affect your mood, it can affect your mind, it can affect your ability to orgasm. So definitely...
We're all having protein today.
Yeah. So we want to have a balance. You want to make sure that you're having carbs, proteins, and fats.
When we feel like changing our bodies, when we think it's necessary, sometimes even when it's medically important for us to do that, how important is it for us to seek therapy when we're about to do these major changes in our bodies?
There's a lot happening around body identity and your body. And I think that it's really important to understand that psychologically, we are born with the bodies. This is our house, right? We're born into these bodies, and we need to develop a relationship with them right from birth. You're born in this body, you're born into the skin, and it is a psychological process to have a relationship with that body. When a child is born, they're born with just a bundle of neurons, and there are no connections. And it is parents, caregivers that are responsible for helping, knit and weave those connections. So in a very long-winded way, is to say when it comes to really trying to develop a relationship with your body and your skin, you want to really do the work, the spade work, and try and understand why that is and what that means for you.
I love that. How important is emotional intelligence where things like this are concerned, where the changing of our bodies and explaining it back to our families? By the way, we don't have to, but for those who feel the need to, we also don't judge you where that is concerned.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, you cannot engage with emotional intelligence if you're not aware of who you are, mentally, emotionally, and physically. There are two things, that controls everyone's reality: how we think and how we feel. So it's quite unfortunate that most of us neglect that aspect of existence in our life. Now, to know yourself, then you are in a better position to correct other people. You're in a better position to lead people. So if you do not know who you are, there's no way you can solve a certain situations that life presents to you. And according to science made a very profound statement to wake us all up by saying perception creates reality. This is not according to me. This is according to religion and science, right? So you are to do your investigation. You are to know yourself. We are here to master every aspect of our lives. It is your duty. It is your responsibility. Thank you.
Do you want to add on to this one?
Yes. So, I mean, I like that question because I work with entrepreneurs as well, right? And they come to my practice and they are experiencing stumbling blocks in their journey.
Girl, this is exactly what I was going through this time. But yeah, take me there. Let's see where we go.
So just to link with what Charles was saying just now is that so a lot of your mind is actually made up in the first 5 years of your life. And that is your unconscious. When you're born, you don't have consciousness. So actually what builds you is all of your experiences in the first 5 years of life. And then you grow up, you become an adult, you want to become an entrepreneur or career woman, and then there's just these challenges that you're experiencing and you just don't understand why. You don't understand why you behave the way you do, why you respond to certain people the way that you do. Why is it that this pattern keeps coming up in my life? And it really is about how your mind has been woven in those early years. And if you're not doing the work to really understand what those stumbling blocks are and to almost like dissolve them and metabolize them, then they're going to keep tripping you up. So it's really important to develop a relationship with your mind, make your mind your friend, work through those unconscious patterns that you've internalized, the way that you were raised. There's so many influences there, cultural influences, religious influences, your environment, who raised you, how were you raised, all of those impact the way in which you see yourself and experience the world.
Okay, let me just add on to this. Two things exist within the human body, and we are to become aware. Perfections and imperfections. They both walk hand in hand. I can prove to you here that no one has what it takes to control the amount of thoughts that enters into your mental plane. You can't, because we all have multitudes of thoughts following every one of us here. So we all also have that intelligence to look into the content of our character. This is how I heal myself. The year is about to end. Which areas of my life do I need to fix? A lot of people are scared they are scared to look into the content of their character. And sometimes when you approach them, they get defensive. They send violence as energy towards you. They cannot sit down and analyze where am I going wrong? How do I fix it? Because I am sure any experience you're passing through today, you have every intelligence to change that experience. You have every intelligence to emotionally not to feel what you were feeling in the past. Why? Because you are now seeing and operating from a different mental, energetic level. So you are to take control. Naturally, human body, we are naturally destructive. It's in everyone. That's why there's a word called self-control, discipline. When you become aware of the amount of thoughts that flows in your heart, every of these thoughts is connected to the content of our character. So work on yourself. I said something at some point, I depended on someone for love. And now I don't depend on anybody for love. The love of my life is myself. And I don't depend on any woman to tell me how much they love me. Yeah, because I love myself, right? So there's one of the greatest philosophers, in fact, he's the greatest philosopher that has ever walked through this earth, was Yeshua, right? He said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. There's no way you can love your neighbor without first of all loving yourself. It must be real with your own thoughts and be real with your own experience and emotion. And then it can come to physical reality. So if you're not counseling yourself or you're not aware of your negatives, I am sorry for you. It's either you come out of it or you keep on moving forward. Well, yeah, of course, they come to me. That's what I make them aware to know that, okay, we don't really count our negative habits as part of our own creation. But when circumstances brings a situations to us, we don't recognize it. It is your own creation. It is the amount of thoughts you've harbored in your mind that you energetically passing towards the universe, and the cosmos will bring it back to you. So don't get surprised. It is your own creation. Thank you.
The topic that I had spoken on was loving my mind, and I think it's such an important topic given that nutrition is linked to our mind. I'm happy that we're having these conversations and that we normalize talking about mental health and how it also links to our nutrition.
It's been an incredible time meeting women from all walks of life.
All the panelists were incredible. From the first one of loving your body to loving your mind, the gems that were dropped, they were absolutely incredible. How important diet is to exercising. I think Martha also mentioned something that's very important about making gym a routine for you and not making it an option. So it can't be an option.
My key takeaways so far is that, we are the captain of our own ship. And that we are responsible for our lives, we are responsible for our choices, we're responsible for our actions, and that it really lies within us to create change, as well as also impact other people around us.
One of the ladies said something about nutrition and the importance of knowing what you consume as a human being. So I'm taking that home as well.
So I'm also leaving with a sense of community. It feels like the air in the room is really about supporting each other and sharing knowledge in a very non-judgmental way.
What we've been waiting for. I mean, our keynote speaker for today, ladies and gentlemen, what a powerhouse she is. A global beauty expert, a diversity advocate, a motivational powerhouse. Like I mentioned, let me be here as well. She has inspired countless individuals for so many years worldwide with her transformative messages. And as a founder of EATO, EATO, by the way, get that one right, Google it, spell it right, so that you can also be part of the movement. And also a seasoned TEDx speaker, she brings unmatched wisdom and passion to every single stage that she graces. And today, she is gracing our stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome a very warm and loud welcome for Eryca Freemantle.
Good afternoon, everybody. As announced, I am Eryca Freemantle. But just like all of you, I am everything. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. I flew all the way from London yesterday, and I leave the day after tomorrow to go back to do and deal with business. But I felt it was such a privilege to come here to South Africa and be part of this. I am 18 months without my dad. I'm 60 years old. And I feel like an 18-month-year-old child who's lost. If you knew me when I was growing up, then you knew my dad. I don't think there was a young woman on the planet that's more luckier than me than having a father that was born on the same day, was born on the same time as my dad. My dad called me his everything. So when your father instills that in you as a girl child, you believe there's nothing on this planet that you can't do. There's no greater love than your father's love. Mothers, you may disagree with me, but for those of us that have experienced it, I'm telling you, there is no man that can love you more than your father if your father's intentions are right. I was sexually abused by an uncle who told me that if I tell my parents, they're gonna die. So I'm getting it from both angles. So what do? I learned very quickly to evolve into this thing they call a split personality. Little did I know that some serious damage that's been touched upon today had been done to me. I tried so hard. I wanted everybody to like me. My dad liked me. My dad loved me. But when I went to school, nobody liked me. And I couldn't figure out why. It took me a really long time. I'm going to tell you why in a moment. But I couldn't figure out why nobody liked me. I went to school like everybody else. My parents put Vaseline on my face. This is in the 60s. You know, they'd cream my skin with Vaseline. I'd have on my white socks. I would go to school. But they would bully me. They would want for a better word. I had hair then. They'd pull me by my hair. They'd slap me. And these are other black girls. My parents would come and collect me from school every day. It was an honor and a privilege to run into my parents' arms, especially my dad. This carried on until I was about 16, and then I left I left primary school, then I went to secondary school. As I went to secondary school, the same girls that went to my primary school went to my secondary school. So what does this instill? Learning behavior. I hated school. I hated anything to do with academic. I hated women. I hated people that looked like you. You never made me feel safe. I felt safe around men. I have 5 brothers. I have a wonderful dad. My mum's cool, but I felt safe with men. To this day, to the day I die, I will feel safer with men. I understand how men think. But more importantly, I understand how we think. And I understand how evil we can be with one look. My dad taught me everything I know to this day. I didn't realize that my father had given me all the tools that I would need later on in life to survive in a business capacity. I tried so hard for women to like me. God, we are cruel. We can be so cruel, even in our silence. When I was 21, so I told you I'm 60 now, okay? When I was 21, I got run over by a car in a petrol station, by a woman, by accident. She lost control of her car, and she made me into a human sandwich between her car and the kiosk. That car hit me in my stomach, pinned me against the wall, and my face landed in 250 pieces of shattered glass. My hair fell out there and then due to the shock of what happened. And my left leg, this one here, was broken in 5 places, and they told me that I'd never walk again. They wanted to amputate my leg. Lo and behold, there was a man across the road. In England, we've got this thing called a pub. I'm sure you have them here. But there was this man in a pub across the road drinking with another man. And the man said to the man, I'm Jamaican, so I'm going to have to say it in Jamaican. One girl just get run over in at the petrol station. In other words, a young lady just got run over in a petrol station. That man said, fool. How could anyone get run over in a petrol station? And the moment they said that to that other person, their knee jerked. That man was my dad. My dad happened to be no more than 100 yards away. My dad didn't know, he just came to look. And as he walked over, he saw my car. And he said, because the car wasn't damaged, it was just parked. And he said, Angie my name at home is Angie. He said, Angie must be here. Apparently there was about 500 people there. Slight exaggeration, but we're Jamaicans, so. So my dad said he was looking and looking and looking for me. And then he realized it was me that had been run over. Now, that was my very first encounter with death. Because I had been so ridiculed, and because I didn't feel I had a purpose to be on planet Earth, I didn't want to fight for this thing that they call life. But the moment I was semi-conscious, and the moment I heard my dad's voice, and again, I'm going to get Jamaican on you, my dad said, not dead, not dead. Me one pitney, in other words, my one girl child. Please don't die. Please don't die. And as I heard my father's voice, it gave me the will to live. I didn't want to upset my dad. I heard the passion and the love that he had for me. And I remember hearing my dad say, God, take one of my son's lives. Save my daughter. Yes, it is kind of funny, but not to my brothers. Not to my brothers. And when I heard Daddy said that, the will to live, just for my dad to be happy, I fought like I've never fought in my life for anything. My dad got into the ambulance, got me to the hospital, and I'm speeding this up. And they were going to amputate my left leg that was broken. And my dad said, before you cut her leg off, cut off mine. If she has to carry around her neck, you're not going to amputate her leg. So for the love of my father, I am here with 6-inch heels on. I walk with a limp that you can't see because I've learned to disguise it. But my dad gave me my leg back. My face healed because everyone comes up to me now and says, where's your scars? They're there, but they've healed. But my hair never grew back. My dad said to me, what do you want to do with your life? You can't sit in the dark forever. And I said, Dad, I want to help other women cover scars. He said, do you want to become a nurse? I said, no, because that means I have to study really hard. Remember, I wanted to run away from academia. The long and short of it is that we came up with makeup artistry because to be a beauty therapist, you had to study science, and I just didn't have the time. My parents paid for me to go to Complexion School of Makeup, which is one of the most successful makeup schools in the UK at the time. I did a makeup course and I qualified. Charles, come. I need you. Never be afraid to ask for help when you need it. My dad is my hero, my confidant, my best friend, my everything. If you know me, you know my dad. Charles, you knew my dad, right?
Yes, I did.
I went away. I went to Paris to an event and I came back to get a phone call from my brother to ask me if I'd heard from my father. I said, no. I've just been on the Eurostar. So my brother said to me, sis, call Dad, because you're his favorite. He'll answer the phone. If I called my dad, there was no answer. I didn't think there was anything wrong. I just thought he was watching cricket or football or something. Little did I know that my brother was going to come to my house and say, sis, let's go and see if Dad's okay. And we got to the house, we put the key in the door, and we turned the lock. And the key wouldn't turn. So that meant that Dad was inside the house. So my brother went round to the back and he climbed through the window and he said, oh, sis, Dad's here. He shouted down, Dad's here. His phones are here. My dad was a bad man. He had 2 phones. So my brother quickly ran down the stairs and opened the door to let me in. As he opened the door, he switched the light on. As he switched the light on, we saw my dad who had just taken his life. My father took his life because he found out that he was seriously ill, and he knew that I would give up my life to look after him the way that he looked after me. So, when people talk about clinical depression and trauma and sadness, I'm the queen of that. However, I'm my father's daughter. And my dad's talking to me right now, and he's saying to me, at 60 years old, my darling, live your life. Live your life. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say to you, if you have people around you that don't make you feel good, if you have people that can't say anything nice to you, if you have people around you that you don't like, get rid of them. Because you only have one life. You have one amount of time. I now know that my dad gave me the tools to survive. Because if you had told me this 2 years ago, that I would be stood here to tell you about my dad in what I just shared with you, I would have said it was a lie. My dad, my Superman, he can't. I mean, we're all going to die, but my dad can't die. My dad sacrificed his life so that I could live my life, so that I could stand here to tell you today that I am everything. Thank you.
I'm rolling. We can go in 5, 4, 3, 2.
As a woman, you should.
Be polite, be honest, be sincere, have integrity, and live your best life.
In living your best life, what's the one thing you think women can enjoy more, especially in the year of 2024?
I would say women should from the day they're born, not from 2024. I mean, you're a child, you then become a young lady, then you become a woman. So you should learn from your experiences in life and live your best life. And you live your best life by being honest.
Do you think that as women age in the field of work right now, we can be equal to men or we can dominate better? And if we can't, what is the best way you think that men and women can work together?
Let me answer that backwards. The best way men and women can work together is be fair, be transparent, and like each other. Do I think it's an equal world? Hell no. Do I think you can achieve anything that you want to achieve? Yes, it's all dependent on the environment that you're in and your belief system.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you for that. We're getting into our third panel for today. Very important panel as well. And this one is Loving on My Career.
Speaking to my corporate girlies today. We'll start with Diana. I think, Diana's incredible. When everybody hears that Diana works at the AU. Tell us about your story. Tell us what you do, Diana. Tell us what your job entails.
As you mentioned, I'm a country coordinator. So what does it mean exactly? Because it can be very broad. So first of all, what we do is that I work for this particular agency called the African Peer Review Mechanism. I don't want to get too technical, but what we do is that we basically diagnose governance deficiencies or gaps into countries. And I oversee about 5 countries, so Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Seychelles, Uganda, and Cameroon.
So that's a lot, But now, Diana's also a wife. She's got 2 children. How do you balance those roles, like being a mom, being a wife, after everything you've been through on your field trips and at work? How do you navigate that?
It's definitely not easy, and it's not something that I knew how to navigate. I'm still learning every day. You have to take everything with as they come, basically. Your job requires so much from you, but then until you set those boundaries, then you will realize that they actually start respecting those boundaries. My boss used to call me at 10 p.m., I need this, I need that. And then once I started saying no and say like no, when I go home and I leave the office, this is it. And you realize that actually he's calling less and less. or he'll be like, I know it's the weekend, so I won't disturb you. You're like you will think that sometimes you're scared to set boundaries, but you realize that actually people kind of appreciate boundaries, or they are very receptive of boundaries. So it's important to have those, and yeah, basically.
I love that. Setting boundaries, showing people how to treat you. Very important. Aisha, let me come to you now. I was told that Aisha left South Africa without $1.
Dramatic.
That all you had was your degree and determination, and there was nothing stopping you. You set off to Dubai, and you're doing amazing things now. Tell us about your journey.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Okay, firstly, I didn't leave with $1. Thank you very much. Yes, I had that with me. Yeah, I mean, the move to Dubai came just right after I got my degree. Graduated with a law degree from UJ in March 2014. Yeah, and for about 5-6 months, I couldn't get a job, get an internship, nothing. And my auntie that actually lives in Gabon was visiting, and she's like to my mom, "Excuse me, what is this one doing in the house? Why is she not working?" I was like, "Well, she can't find work, she can't find anything." And she was like, "Well, I hear people are finding jobs in Dubai." I'm like, Dubai, you know. So by the time she left, she bought my ticket and was like, "Listen, go hustle," literally. And so that's how I got to Dubai. Literally, didn't know anybody. And I was in Dubai for about 2 weeks before I ran out of money. And I was like, okay, I'm coming back now. Because if you know Dubai, Dubai is expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so the night before my flight, my baby cousin who's studying there at the time said, "Look, you haven't really tried anything. There's this group on Facebook called South Africans in Dubai. Drop a message, tell them you have a degree, and see what happens." Back in the days, we used to work in Dubai Sundays to Thursdays, and that was a Thursday night. So I kind of like, okay, did my spiel, and then, "Hi, Aisha, no degree, blah, blah, blah." And I was actually overwhelmed by responses, and I had interviews set up for the next Sunday. So next thing I knew, I had a job on the Sunday. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's how I stayed in Dubai, really. So yeah, that's the story.
And then when you entered the workplace as a foreign person in this new country, how was that?
Oh no, it's very, very different, obviously, from working in South Africa, I imagine, because in Dubai, 80% of the population are foreigners. About only, if I dare say, 90, because the Emirati population, I think they're about 1 or 1.2 million only. So everybody is a foreigner. And so for me, it was great. I would just put my head down and do what I needed to do.
Let's speak to Kanyisa. I know that you've just started a very prominent role.
I won't get into a title, right? Because for me, I actually hate being labeled as a title. But the role that I'm currently in has been a transition from understanding how to differentiate between being a manager and being a leader, right? And I think the importance of it, and I think the magnitude of it for me has really been around understanding the expectations of being a leader, the expectations of what value I add to not only the people that I have to lead, but also, I mean, I call myself actually a scientist. I'm a societal construct scientist because I'm in marketing, right? And I think a lot of people have spoken around just the things we consume. And for me, I step into that every time I think of what my job is and the importance of it is, because we create what society consumes. Adverts are what we are able to believe. Marketing influences are marketing, and that's the role that we play. And listening to how influential, or rather how it really defines or makes a society what it is, that's the title.
I like that you touched on the difference between leading and managing. What does your team say about you? Because I know you lead a few what do you call them? Brand managers. Yeah.
Yes, I think and I hope and I believe and I work on wanting to be a better leader every day. I hate being called a manager, so I'm a partner. I work for my team. I'm that kind of manager. I'm the kind of manager who wants to build a trusting relationship where I want us both to work towards unlocking opportunities for my team. I'm very hands-off, right? Because I'm a control freak. So I know what it's like when someone is like, has their fingers in your pie. I can't allow that. And it's hard for me, right? Because I really am a control freak. So having
You
to
sound
step-
like Sifa. You
having
sound
to
just like
step-
Sifa. Thanks, B. Nontobeko, you chose the entrepreneurial route, over corporate. Tell us about what you do and why you decided to venture out on your own.
During the time that I was in corporate, we were sort of the not first, but we were part of the first cohort of Black people to really participate in Black economic empowerment. And I think that really played a significant role in terms of helping us navigate corporate, helping us break into corporate careers straight away from university into a job. I mean, when I left university, I already had a job. In my last year, I already had a job. So I had a good job, basically, and my career was on the up and up. I was doing very well. I was basically ahead of my peers, I have to say. Ladies, you must not be shy. Don't let anyone dim your light. If you're doing well, you're doing well. Praise God. Even when things are hard in business, when I think about transitioning into corporate, I get anxiety. So for me, that is a measure that tells me who I am. I'm a businesswoman, and that's what I am.
Did you encounter any challenges, any shocks along the way that you really didn't expect, that really knocked you sideways? And, as much as you didn't go grab that CV, but you were pretty close. Did you ever have any moments like that?
Yes, I have. You must understand, I've been in business since 2004. My daughter was born in 2006. So I've been in business 2 years longer than I've had my children. And that's my oldest. And you can see she's a big girl. She's sitting here. So I must have paid my school fees. So yes, there have been moments where I thought, this is a curveball. And one of those, and if I'm speaking to a young entrepreneur this morning, a woman who's just started out, who doesn't anticipate what's around the corner, is do not place all your eggs in one basket. If you're a businesswoman, you need to diversify yourself. You are in business. So you're not in a corporate job where you rely on one source of income. You have decided to go into business. Think like a business person. A business person is industrious. They will sell anything and everything. But I had paid my school fees because the debt had prescribed. So that is my biggest lesson. Do not place your eggs in one basket if you're in business.
Great. That's a great lesson. I shall start with you. What advice would you give to any lady here who wants to leave, who, is feeling like, they've got a lot to offer in another country, but they're afraid because everything they know is here, their family's here, their friends are here. They're just afraid to step into another place. How would you encourage them?
Leave.
Just do it.
Just do it. Because how are you going to know? It's not working out for you here. So, what are you going to do? Better take the leap. And especially if you're just graduated or you're single and married, like the time to take the risk is now. Just give yourself 6 months to a year. If it doesn't work out, you tried. Come back and then figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Love that. B, to anyone who is afraid of the toxicity of the corporate world, as a woman, as a pretty woman, you know, where sometimes people think, oh, you're just a woman, nothing in your brain. You got here because of someone else. Some uncle let you through the front door. How do we keep going, you know, when you're receiving daggers across all ends, but you just stay focused on the ladder and continue to climb that ladder?
I think it's about like changing that question and changing it being about it's a man's world, and feeling like we can't do both. Like you can be pretty and smart and have everything that you need to do, but again, it's about putting in the work, right? I used to be so frustrated where I'd feel like I have to prove that I actually belong in this room. One, I'm very young and I'm really good at what I do. And I'm quite successful, so you guys can clap for me. but it was also very challenging, right? Because not only have the things that I've mentioned, but I'm also Black, right? And it's not easy, and it's not. I'm not going to say that you're going to walk into the space and it's going to be different. It's going to be challenging, and it's going to take a lot of resilience. It's going to take a lot of discipline, and it's going to take a lot of boundary setting.
Diana, can women have it all? Can we kill it in the corporate world? Can we kill it at home? And if we can't do it all at the same time, is it okay?
Definitely no. Okay. First of all, I don't think that we can have it all, and it's a constant. Like, because for me, having it all, it's like you're running on 100% everywhere. Like, so you're 100% at work, 100% at home, 100% as a mom, 100% as a wife, 100% as a friend, and that's just not possible because you need to be able to also like be fueled, and your battery is going to be depleted very soon. So I think if you have to approach it, you have to be much more wiser and do it with the right attitude. Like I said earlier, know when to prioritize, what is important in the moment. So if you're with your kids, make it 100% with your kids. Don't be on your phone. Give it all your attention because you want to be able to also. I believe I've grown up with a lot of favor, receiving a lot of favor, and I believe that the favor you receive is the favor that you have to give. So I think when you're with your friends, your colleagues, be able to be giving back, and for you to be able to give back, you need to be full. You need to come from a point of abundance. Otherwise, you won't be able to give out. So I think for me, you cannot chase all of them at the same time, but just know that it's okay sometimes to drop the ball. Yeah.
Love that. It's okay sometimes to drop the ball, and you're still everything, even when you do drop the ball, right? I love that. And Nonto, your parting words, to aspiring entrepreneurs.
It's amazing how I was young, and when I look back and I would look at the templates and all the business forms that I had, and I think, oh my God, people would trust me with this, and they would pay me, honestly. But there's just something about it, and that's why I call it a grace. And it's only there for a certain time, and then it's hard work after that. But when people extend that grace to you, that is being extended by God or whatever you believe, it's to help you build up momentum and to catch up and to build yourself and to make yourself ready for when the work really gets harder, because it does get harder. So I'd encourage you to get started.
Incredible. Thank you so much, ladies. Well, I guess we've come to the end of our discussion, but if there's any questions, please find these 4 exceptional ladies, during the networking session later, or grab them and just, get to learn more and just dig their brains a bit deeply, because they're doing such phenomenal work.
Oh, the event has been amazing. For me, I have really, really been bowled over. So impressive. The lineup has been incredible. From the psychologists looking after our wellness, mental wellness, to the business discussions, stimulating us. It's all been just incredible.
I'm filled with excitement. I'm filled with knowledge. I'm filled with humility. We've just come out of our panel discussion, which was centered around loving our careers. But I think I walked out of just all the other panels having learned so much, having understood so much more around what powerful women are actually around us at our a very close reach. Today's been incredible. Today has been a community that's come to life.
This event is and has been amazing so far. I mean, the caliber of the speakers, mind-blowing, and our keynote speaker, her story was so touching and so moving. Like, I think the whole room was in absolute tears. So the event, so good. So far, so good.
Sometimes you show up at 50%, sometimes at 80%, sometimes at 100%. And all of that is indeed fine, because at the end of the day, you're a lot further than you were when you actually started. So to always be proud of the little steps we make, of the little advancements that we make, because it all contributes to the bigger picture at the end of the day.
As women, we don't love it ourselves enough, and this was a really great opportunity to be able to understand what loving herself means, actually, and I think this is what I'll take away from today.